everyone, welcome back to another Big Finish review. Now, firstly, if you're new here, don't worry about this, skip about 20 seconds ahead. If you're not, then I just wanted to say I profusely apologise because I missed reviewing not only the next War Master box set, but also the next two stories in the 13th Doctor Adventures, which I'm fairly certain I'd said I'd review. In fact, actually, no, I think I did do Return of the Doctor, but I didn't do the Christmas special, as it were, because it was really disappointing. I'll be honest, really boring, really disliked it, massive waste of money. That's just my opinion, though. You know, if you liked it, great, I'm glad you got something out of it. I could not. So, at this point, I probably won't end up reviewing any more of the 13th Doctor Adventures of Big Finish, unless I listen to one and think, wow, I actually really enjoyed that. Then I will upload a review, but just don't expect, regular ones. Torchwood is the one thing I will keep up with. The War Master one, I just couldn't get it, because, it's an expensive hobby, Big Finish, and they are releasing too much over, quantity over quality, I feel, at the moment. But, so I'm not getting every release, but for, things like the War Master, it's quite expensive, so it took me a while to actually be able to get it. And then when I did, it was sort of too late to review it. I did enjoy it, though. Decent box set, 8 out of 10. A lot of decently enjoyable stories. I didn't really have any issues with none of them. None of them were perfect, but considering this is the War Master under a new reign, as it were, it wasn't actually too bad. And I think that hopefully the future of that range is in safe hands. But anyway, I'm aware I said skip 20 seconds, and I've now been talking for a minute and 50, almost. So now I'm going to be on to the actual Torchwood review. This month we got The Flawless Man, and unfortunately, I won't have said this since either, the Torchwood range has been announced to be ending, which is really disappointing, but we all had a feeling. We weren't even sure if Salvage would be the final one, but no, we've got 4 more left, technically 3 more left after this. This one was The Flawless Man. I will read the description, but this is actually completely unscripted because I just wanted to say what came to me. Martin Binns is dead. He leaves behind a pile of videotapes and a warning on the walls of his flat. He is coming. Andy's boss is keen to write the death off, but Andy's been around Torchwood too long to let it go. The tapes contain the rushes of an unfinished horror film. Hidden in it is a forgotten crime and a terrible warning. He is coming. Now, this horror, sci-fi, drama. 3 of my favourite things put together, and it's Torchwood, and it's Andy. It's a character we're familiar with, or at least if you are listening to this range, then you will be, and even if you're not, you don't need to be, you can just listen. This is, again, the brilliant thing of this range is you can pretty much go into any story, and you won't have even needed to watch the TV show. This is definitely one of those where it doesn't matter if you've actually watched Torchwood or not. In fact, I don't think Torchwood actually ever gets a mention, despite what the description of that episode read. Which I guess is fine. I guess it doesn't need to. But this is the thing. The reason I really enjoyed it, and I will give my rating at the end, but the reason I really enjoyed this one isn't necessarily because of the villain. And it was an interesting premise. It's found footage, but audio, so you just hear the audio of it. And funnily enough, I've got a story planned that's not so dissimilar, but I've had it planned longer than this one, so I'm not stealing it. But yeah, I don't know, I was looking forward to it, but I was also like, okay, how are they going to do that and make it engaging enough? But it was actually really good, and it honestly, this whole episode, albeit not incredibly long, it made me want a police drama, like an actual TV show with Andy, and, add a few more coppers in there, but like a police drama with a bit of sci-fi in there. And no, I'm not just talking about something like The X-Files. It doesn't even have to be related to Torchwood, but it just made me want it. It really made me want, or at least I know it would never get made, and it certainly won't now. But Andy, most people probably think, oh, he's I'm not going to bother getting it. I don't really care for his character. But actually, if they actually had a series where these audios were a bit more connected, that's the thing. Even if they have the same characters in, you don't really know when they take place, when they're set. Really, you do with it explicitly as a part of the story when it's set, but these later ones, like in recent years, it's, if it's got Yanto in it, obviously it's set when he was alive. If it's just got his voice, it's set after. Those things are obvious, but what I'm talking about is unobvious stories like this, where we got Andy, they say the date, but they actually avoid saying the year, and I think that was purposeful because it's just a bit complicated, and Torchwood sort of timeline past the story continues. My headcanon is that it's just after the story continues, but you could really have it whenever you want. I mean, if you look at Andy, he's not young, but he's not old, you know what I mean? It's evidently a more recent picture of the actor himself, so it just makes sense to have set a little bit later in the timeline. But you can tell I'm going unscripted, can't you? I don't know if I'm the first to review this or not. I don't really mind if I am. If I am, then great. If I'm not, someone's probably done it better than me. I will always say I'm not a good or professional reviewer, or to be a reviewee. Regardless, I'm not that. Now, the actual creature, it's weird, and it's a sort of story where you'll either love it or hate it ending-wise, because we don't really get an explanation. It's set in the Doctor Who universe. You just sort of have to accept that some sci-fi shenanigans went on. You can link it to the Rift. That's the only thing. It would have been nice if Torchwood got a bit of a mention. It didn't, which is why I said, like, it feels more like an episode of a TV show in which it's a sci-fi drama, horror in this case, sort of. I wouldn't say it's particularly horrific, but there are some quite, like, especially the pre-intro sequence, that did creep me out. Probably because I was listening to it at night, but, you know, it's something that Torchwood does very well. So if you are into that like me, I do recommend getting it. But that's why it just felt like I was watching an episode of a TV series, completely unrelated to Torchwood, and just happened to have Andy in the lead. All the other actors did very well. I enjoyed every performance, and there was a handful of characters in this, which there isn't always, but aside from D.I. Priya Sharma, who was alongside Andy Davison for this entire story, all the others are sort of just side characters that gradually get less and less important, but good performances from all, I will say that. Yeah, I essentially don't really know what to say about this because I always do these spoiler-free, so I'm not going to mention what happens. I'm not going to mention in depth any of the plot like some reviewers do, and that's fine if they want to do that, but I'm just going to move on to rating it because you already know I pretty much like this one. Now, on IMDb, I've given it a 9 because I didn't want to give it an 8. Maybe it is an 8, maybe I'm just coming off of, you know, there are definitely a few issues, but I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. I really love this range, and I'm really disheartened to see it ending, but unfortunately, it doesn't come as much of a surprise, as I've said before, and as people have said since online, Torchwood, at Big Finish especially, it's a niche in itself anyway nowadays, but at Big Finish it's even more of a niche, and as I've said at the start of this video, it's an expensive hobby. The stories are good, but I don't think I can ever justify the prices. For example, this one was $13.99, then £5 postage, so it nearly cost me £20 just to get this one story, which is why you really want them to be good, which is pretty much now, for Big Finish, especially why I'm doing these. If you don't know if it's worth it or not, watch these videos, you know. They're spoiler-free, so I'm never going to ruin the story for you. I'm just going to be straight with you, and, you know, I'm not looking for a sponsor from Big Finish. They never do that anyway, but, you know, I don't want to upset any execs or anything. Again, doubt they're going to watch this, but I just don't personally. I know inflation, I know prices of everything, including physical media, are rising, but I just, yeah, it's very hard to justify the money, and I have spent, as along with any avid Big Finish listener, thousands on them. And yeah, but still, it's a shame we're seeing it end. We've got 3 stories left. The next one is with Norton Folgate, which, yeah, I am looking forward to that one. The cover has been announced. I mean, seeing as this is a video, I will chuck the cover on screen now so you can have a look. Looks pretty cool, and yeah, they've changed it to bi-monthly, as we know, for the final stretch. So that story, this one came out obviously just tail end in November. That one comes out in January, so we get nothing for December, but there are a couple Torchwood Christmassy listens you can listen to this year if you want. I certainly will be. So yeah, for Torchwood, I will see you guys in January. Regarding like normal videos with James, I reckon me and him will do a little short one just before the end of the year, but yeah, hopefully there'll be something for you guys in December. Now the Husband Hotel videos are done, we're sort of, you know, the only other things we can do is unboxings, and that's him rather than me. So, and as he said, and as you may or may not know, I've been in the process of moving house and then renovating the place I'm going to stay in, and I'm still in the middle of it. So, but I just wanted to get this out because I haven't done a video on here in a while. So, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching if you have made it this far. If you've seen, or I should say heard, the story, what did you think? Let me know in the comments below, and apart from that, I will see you in the next one.